Lily was in full bloom, like the wildflowers thriving in the meadow, and she was walking along the forest path to go and visit her grand-mère. She carried with her a basket with a freshly baked strawberry galette, a cake, and a pot of cream. About halfway along the path, she stopped in her tracks, because blocking her way in front of the fork of the path, there was an exceedingly handsome young man with piercing blue-grey eyes. But the way he looked at her made her blood thud in her ears. He doffed his cap. "Mademoiselle, whereabouts are you off to? And which path will you take?" I'm going to visit my grand-mère, and I walk alone." "Well then, I will take the other path. Perhaps we should make a race to see who can get there first." And off he set without waiting for a reply. But as soon as that young man was out of sight, he took his wolfen form, for he was a Bazou, a werewolf. Meanwhile, grand-mère had decided that she was ready to depart this mortal realm. She had said her prayers, and she was waiting. But she never expected Death to be so handsome or so quick. Those blue-grey eyes were the last things she saw on this world, and he devoured her flesh, blood, and bone. He threw the bloodied sheets into the cupboard, put new sheets on the bed, pulled the bedclothes up over his snout, just in time as Lily's knock came at the door. "Grandma, it's me, Lily." And to herself she said, "Ha ha, I beat that young man. He's not so smart. Either he's slow or he doesn't even know where grand-mère lives." She put the basket on the table. "Grand-mère, I've got..." "Oh, grand-mère, it's very dark in here. How come you haven't opened let me open the curtains for you. And it smells of wet dog and blood sausage in here." No. Don't open the curtains. Don't worry about that. Here, what about you? You must be cold and tired from your journey. Take off your clothes, child, and sit beside me. I'll warm you up." But with every word the Bazou spoke, he cast an enchantment over Lily. And so Lily said, "What shall I do with my shawl, grand-mère?" "Throw it on the fire, child. You won't need it anymore." "And what shall I do with my apron, grand-mère?" "Throw it in the fire, child. You won't need it anymore." And so the striptease went on, and the girl threw one garment after another until she stood naked and trembling, approaching the bed. And as she walked towards her grand-mère, she said, "Oh, grand-mère, how hairy you are. All the better to keep you warm, my dear. But grand-mère, how big your arms are. All the better to hold you with, my dear. But grand-mère, what big ears you have. All the better to hear you with, my dear. But grand-mère, what big teeth you have. All the better to eat you with, my dear." But with that word eat, he had suddenly, accidentally, broken the spell he'd so carefully laid upon Lily. She realized suddenly the imminent and mortal danger she was in. But she didn't let on. She simply said, "grand-mère, I really need to go to the toilet. I just need to run outside." "No, do it in the bed." "Oh, grand-mère, it's a number 2. "Do it in the bed." "No, I must go outside, grand-mère." "Well then, if you must go outside, I will tie a thread to your ankle so that I know just where you are. And hurry up, or you'll catch a cold." He tied a strong thread to Lily's ankle, and out she went. And as soon as she got out into the garden, she took grandma's scissors, she cut that string, she tied it around a plum tree, and she ran, naked as she was, she ran for the river as fast as she could run. Meanwhile, the Bazou sat impatiently in bed. Are you finished yet? Silence. Are you watering the grass or feeding the trees? No answer. He went outside to check on her, found that she had tied the thread to the plum tree. Ha! Folded his snout, and after her scent he bounded. Meanwhile, Lily had come to the riverbank. She called out she saw 3 laundresses working on the opposite bank. Please, help me cross. Oh, yes, child. They threw a white linen cloth across the river. She held on as they tugged her deftly through the deep, dark current and pulled her up on the other side, wrapping her in a big, dry towel. Meanwhile, the bazoo arrived on the opposite bank. Help me across. Oh, yes, said the laundresses. We'll help. They threw the white linen cloth across the river, and they tugged him into the middle of that deep, dark river, and that furious current swept him away, and that unnatural creature was never seen again. Meanwhile, they held Lily until the shivering subsided, and she hugged them and kissed them and thanked them 1,000 times as they dressed her in a fine new dress that fitted her perfectly, and it had a matching cloak and hood. Some say it was red. Then Lily ran all the way home to her mother to tell her story. And other people told her story on and on until at last I heard that story so that I can tell you. And I think that Charles Perrault would have heard that story when he wrote La Petite Chaperon Rouge, or Little Red Riding Hood. And I'll let you guess which is my favourite version. And perhaps next time you come across a dark character, someone like a werewolf, or someone escaping a werewolf, you will remember this story and you'll know just what to do. Snip, snap, snout. My tale is out.